Hi, welcome everyone to the monthly Game Salad meetup.
Turn. Can you, if you're on Zoom, can you reset your thing to telephone?
Sorry, everybody, we're a little technical difficulties here. Just 1 second.
All right, we're good.
Okay, so welcome to the Game Salad monthly meetup. Today we're going to be talking about graphics with Brian Hapgood, who is one of our senior engineers here, also our main graphics programmer for the Game Salad engine. Few little items to note before we get started. The next meetup is going to be a little bit flux date-wise. I'm kind of monkeying with a bit of dates to find a little bit better date that works here better in Austin. Again, I'd like to stress I'd love people to come out to the office. So far, we have had Ian now. We're going to have to eat 3 pizzas by ourselves. So we'd love for people to come help share the pizza and eat it. So if you're in Austin or you're close by, come down and see us. Also, I'd like to say that our public bug database is available at bugs.gamesalad.com. I'll put that down here for you guys. So you'll be able to see, for right now, I've actually put up all the bugs that are halting in 11.1. So if you want to go take a look at that, you can watch me fix bugs for that. And we're going to go ahead and move all the stuff on the form that's on the public bug database. We are going to move that in there automatically. If you have something that bug that's not on there, go ahead and add it to here. And this also has voting, so you can go vote for your favorite bugs. All right, so what we're going to do for question-wise, we're going to do questions at the end. And you can always type your questions up here, and we can, Brian, be able to see them. But we won't do any audio questions and such until the end. It just helps us with the recording. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brian here to start the presentation on graphics. Do you want to take it away?
All right, thanks. So I've been here a year now, and in that time, had to get really down and dirty with the engine. And today I'm going to talk about all the new changes that are coming to GameSalad rendering. So, right, so the biggest improvements have come to the engine that deal with rendering performance and load time performance. I found in some pretty complex sideways scrollers, I've seen frame rates improve from 15 frames a second up to 60 frames a second. It really depends on how you author your art, so we'll get into that in a little bit. The other thing is that the load times are much improved over 11.1. Whereas before we would have lots of processing of the art when we loaded it from PNGs in your package or your APK. Now we have a sprite database that does all the processing offline and makes a really fast path to loading your art into your game. So what does that mean? That tends to mean that if you have a large game that is loading a lot of art, instead of preloading it up front, you're doing lots of on-demand loading. All that will be tremendously faster, especially on iPhone and desktops. Android's a little bit of a challenge, but we'll solve that. Okay, so with the new things, the new system, you need to really rethink how you approach your art. There's been I've seen a lot of examples of games where there was a lot of worrying going on in the file sizes of your JPEGs or your PNGs. In the new system, stop worrying about it because it doesn't solve any problems anymore. Basically, what you want to do is you want to author your art to look
Okay, we back now? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Our telephone decided to hang up. All right, I'm turning back over to Brian.
Okay. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is, stop worrying about your image file sizes. The new sprite database will compress it all for you, and currently it stores everything uncompressed, but we'll be adding JPEG compression at a fairly small granular level in the database. So it doesn't buy you anything to worry about compressing your art in especially PNG Crunch or PNG, all these strange compressors that we've seen over the last few months. None of that helps you anymore. We do it for you. The second issue is get used to working on a 64 by 64 grid in Photoshop. Duplicate those 64 by 64 tiles as much as you can, because essentially what happens now is when our offline tool, the publishing, when you publish, the tool will rip your art up into those 64 by 64 tiles and will run through the whole image looking for duplicates of those tiles. So if you can stamp out those tiles on those grid boundaries, you're going to have a much smaller sprite in the database. For example, if you had a fully white background, then that would be one tile. As long as everything was pure white and there wasn't any gradients or anything like that, then you get one tile instead of hundreds. Which brings me to the point of thinking about the way you build your art. Like if you've got I've seen one game where it was a full screen game, and it was just pictures. Every single screen was a different picture. Now, the best way to author a piece of art like that is this particular game had lots of lighting effects. They had really simple artwork that could be tiled really nicely, but then they flattened on top of the art a lighting effect. So you had this point light in the middle of the scene. That destroys tiling. You're much better off to make a very tileable image. Take your lighting effect as a separate image and layer that on top and multiply in the engine instead of baking it all down. It's better to have multiple images that have good tile use rather than one with lots of special effects and generating tons of tiles. The fewer tiles you have, the less memory it's going to take up at runtime. Then another issue that we saw is watch the size of your images, the image dimensions. There's a lot of in a lot of games I've seen, there's all the art is scaled really big and authored really, really big, and then at runtime it's scaled down to the size that you want at runtime. That's the worst thing you can do in the new engine, because it will generate a lot of geometry. So the way that these tiles are put together at runtime is that we make it basically a triangle list, and we say, okay, there's a triangle quad there, another quad there, another quad there, then reference into a single bitmap. So all these little tiny pieces are loaded into one giant texture. That's so that we can draw the entire screen with a single draw call. But because of that geometry, if you have really large artwork, it's going to generate more of those 64 by 64 tiles. And the more tiles you have, the more geometry you need, which slows the renderer down. So it's always best to author at the size it's going to display at, or scale, or work at whatever resolution you want, but the final art that gets pulled into the engine needs to be basically in device scale. Okay, so as I've mentioned, we have a new cross-platform graphics engine. Uses a sprite database for really fast atomic loading on iOS and OS X. There's caching for Android because reading from an APK is incredibly slow. That's an issue where with Android, everything lives inside a compressed, glorified zip file. And so whenever you read files from that APK, it takes a long time. So we're putting a lot of effort into making Android work as fast as iOS. We're seeing really huge improvements in speed, especially on iOS. So now with these tiles that I talked about, we allocate up to 4 textures that are as big as the GPU can render them. So on iPhone 5, that's 4096 by 4096. What that means is one texture takes about 64 megabytes. But it's very careful in allocating those textures. If you don't use those textures, it won't allocate them. But if you have a really massive game, then it's gonna take all those sprites and all their tiles and put them into one texture, or spread them across 4 textures if it uses that many. It's pretty huge. So you can have in memory now, you can have 16,000 tiles. There's no more OpenGL version 1. That's gone away. So the code is a lot simpler now. Whereas before we had to maintain 2 renderers, one for GL1, one for GL2. Now it's just OpenGL ES2, and all the shaders are generated, so it's extremely flexible. No matter what platform you're running the engine on, it scans the hardware, figures out what GL extensions are available, and then turns on functionality, generates new shaders to work specifically for your hardware. So a lot of effort went into that. Like I mentioned, now the reason the engine gets all of its speed is there's a single draw call for all actors on the screen. If you have the same blend mode between every actor, then you'll get one draw call. Every time you change blend mode, like go to screen or add or normal and back and forth in your actors, then it will break the batch. So if I had, half of my actors were with normal blend and then the other half were screen blend, then you'd have 2 draw calls. Well, why are draw calls so important? Because the more you make, the slower your engine runs. And that's just the bottom line with GL rendering. So now with a single draw call, we can run at the theoretical limit of the GPU. Like I mentioned, the renderer is highly adaptive now. Not only are the shaders generated based on what hardware you've got, but it also picks the best OpenGL extensions. So I'll use GL map buffer if it's available on Android. On iPhone, it'll use map buffer range so you're only flushing the verts that you use instead of the entire buffer, and lots of little optimizations like that. It's pretty cool. Bottom line is, it just runs a heck of a lot faster. So, talk about the sprite database a little bit more. all the incoming art, like I said, is ripped in these 64 by 64 tiles, and triangles are generated to render them. And again, the bigger the image, the slower the sprite runs. So you have to think a little bit more about your art, but it'll still run, but it depends on your game. If you're going for the utmost performance, then worry about your tiles. If you don't really care, it's a static screen that you're changing between screens, and it's not a sideways shooter or something, then you don't even have to worry about this. It all happens for you. You also now have, you'll never run out of memory, whereas before you could. If you had tried to load too many sprites at one time, you would run out of video memory eventually. Now you can't. What will happen is there'll be a big pause of about a quarter of a second as sprites are evicted from memory and all their tiles are loaded back off a disk. So it's constantly streaming from disk to memory and memory to video memory. So your games can be as big as you like, as long as they'll fit within the download limits of the platform. But we are working on that as well, so we'll have, hopefully we'll get to improving the Android download limit from 50 meg to 2 gigs. So we're working on that too. The other thing to talk about is when you're creating big art and scaling it down as you used to, if you really have to do that because you're worried about retina, it's actually better to again author your art at the device resolution. So make it look good for a normal iPhone without retina. Then use the @2x modifier in your file name. So you literally just at the end of your file name put @2x. That creates a second database that's specific just for retina. And so then you can double the size of your image. And the engine knows, it's clever enough to know that it'll double the size of the tiles. So everything's still really fast and all the duplication still works. And so you don't get, because if you jump to 128, if you don't jump to 128 square tiles, then you're just going to have crap loads of tiles when you really don't need that. The thing about the duplication, right now tiles are checked for duplication within the same image, the same PNG file. We will be working, the first version will just do it that way, but a later version will check for tiles throughout the entire database, so to bring the size of your database down as well. The other thing is the PNGs and JPEGs or Targas or whatever file format you're using will not be saved to the final package. Only the sprite database is. So there's no reason to spend any time optimizing those things. Just make them look good. And last option here is we will be JPEG compressing the tiles. Giving you an option to JPEG compress all the tiles so that the download size is smaller, because that's a pretty important thing for a lot of games. Every tile, like I said, 64 by 64. It's RGBA, 32-bit per pixel, so it's a heck of a lot larger than a JPEG pixel. Under the hood, we create, if the hardware supports it, then we use ultra-fast vertex buffer objects, which is OpenGL speak for allocating a chunk of GPU memory for holding vertices. These are dynamic vertex buffer objects or VDOs. So every frame we just run through our sprites that need to be displayed, clip sprites out that are not visible on screen yet, and then just append those to the VDO and just dynamically update it. On Android, we use something called GL map buffer, which returns a pointer to the video memory, and you write straight to it. But they're on older machines. It will fall back to allocating its own buffers and using the slower GL. I can't remember the name of it, but you can basically update a VDO in one go, which is really slow. On iOS, it uses the iOS range, map range APIs, which are extensions supported on everything from iPhone 4 up. There's a lot of work gone into Android OpenGL because Android GL is not as well implemented. The driver is not as well implemented as it is on iOS. Even on 3.0 hardware, you can't access those extra features from GL ES2. Even in cases where it says there's an extension that exists, for example, to do GL map buffer, on a lot of older machines, it will actually fail. So it'll say, oh yeah, I do GL map buffer, but is lying to you. So there's actually a small database inside the engine now, so we detect the name of the device, the chipset of the device that we're using, and we'll scale the engine based on model number. So a lot of effort's gone into that to make sure that we scale, get the most speed possible from the device it's running on. The tile memory usage, memory footprint on disk is much larger. Like I said, each scene can allocate up to 4096 by 4096 on an iPhone 5, or an iPhone 4 is 2048. So it basically queries GL and says, what's the biggest texture I can make, and it allocates that. On an iPhone 5, you lose 64 meg right off the bat. So, and if you end up allocating all 4 megatextures, then that ends up being 256 meg that you'll lose from your 1 gig. On an iPhone 4, it's a little bit more unpleasant because you only have 512 meg to start with, and you can lose half to your sprites now. We'll keep on playing with heuristics to make that less painful. Maybe providing an interface to control that. There's 16,384 tiles that you can have loaded at once. If you try to allocate the 16,385th, it'll be loaded from disk, and the oldest tiles will then get evicted from memory. So it's constantly streaming, new replacing old tiles until. And if you go back and use the same tiles, then it'll reload it from disk if it isn't in memory, and so you have to think a lot about your reuse on larger maps. You want to have hard point. You want to load as much as you can in the start of your level, and then have load points where you can load more artwork. Because you want to avoid the pauses that you get from accessing the disk. On Android and OS X, there's an extra feature where we dynamically resize the megatextures. So on those platforms, it'll start out with a megatexture of 512 by 512, load the tiles into it, oh, I've run out of space, then it'll resize the tile, the mega texture. That's a really great way of minimizing wasted memory on these textures. Unfortunately, you can't do it on iPhone. So iPhone, you start out and you only have one sprite with one tile in it, you've lost 64 megs. Whereas on Android and the desktop, you'll only lose a few meg. The reason for that is there's a bug I found out that there's a bug in iOS's GL driver, so that GL text subimage 2D, which is an API for copying pixels down to a texture from main memory. You call it too much and you pass too many tiles down to it after you've resized it and all this. It actually fails to flush the buffers, so those tiles never get copied. So the only way to avoid that is to not resize tiling, do resize tiling on iPhone, which is really annoying. But anyway, so here's a screenshot of our game Raptor Storm, and so right here you just see the title, dinosaurs, and on the next screen I'll show you how it's actually broken up into tiles. So right here you can see the background is all single tiles, and then you see where it says test build, it's actually broken the test build up into tiles as well, and so those tiles are displayed on top. In memory, this is what it looks like. So you see lots and lots of pieces just stacked one after another in memory. And then, sorry about that. What's going on?
I was trying to make sure there was sound.
And you can see, you know, all the little pieces for the background for Raptor Storm and a previous animation that played in that game. Yeah, you see all the artwork right there, and we've got, as you can see, we've got tons and tons of space left over for more tiles. Every scene in the engine has its own set of mega textures. So if you change scene and go to a completely different scene, then you'll have to reload. All the art loading goes into the new texture, so there's no sharing between scenes. That's an important thing to remember. So you're going to get a load hit every time you change a scene. Our shaders are adaptive as well. Like I said, they're all generated in code, and one shader is used amongst all the batches being rendered. So the engine boots up, generates its shader, and it uses it from then on in. It has many different strategies for making the shaders run as fast as possible, because a lot of your frame rate is going to disappear based on which instructions you use. On an iPhone 4, we use arrays of textures, whereas on iPhone 5, that's slower than using conditionals. So iPhone 5 and above, we use if statements in the shader to select which mega texture you're going to display, or which mega texture that tile is going to go onto. So conditionals are much faster on new hardware. Android uses conditionals because though texture arrays are faster, not all devices support them, and I've actually run into bugs on Android where OpenGL fails to compile anything with an array in it. I've actually had GL-linked program just stop and never return and get into an infinite loop just because I had an array in the shader. So we only use conditionals on Android. Conditionals on old hardware, like I say, it's about 20 FPS for a big sideways scroller, compared to 60 on newer newer devices. But there's nothing I can do about it because of the limitations of GL on Android, especially on pre-3.0 devices. So here's an example of a vertex shader that's been generated by the code. So it just grabs a position, saves off the color and the UV. And then this is the Android pixel shader, or fragment shader, I should say, where the Z component of the UV contains which texture to use, and that's how we are able to have multiple, have tons of like a big vertex buffer full of different triangles, and every single triangle can select a unique mega texture to display from, so that we can pack all those textures could be different sizes on Android and OS X. So that's the pixel shader right there. The special diff, the final else in that list of if statements is to handle white untextured actors. But we have other ways of doing that on the other platform, on the other types of shader. So that's about it. That's my little presentation. Anyone got any questions?
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to unmute people to ask questions. We have a small enough group. If you don't want to be muted, raise your hand on GoToMeeting, and I'll just skip over you.
Unmuted.
I wasn't paying attention to what part he was asking.
Well, good, because Scott Harrison was the first person unmuted.
All right, Trot, you're up.
We're talking on the CPU, correct? I think we're going to, for starters, stick with compiled for both, which would be 32. I don't know if the engine, if we gain anything from 64 right now.
It compiles 64, but I've tested it, but there's a lot that goes into Android 64.
We have this. Oh yeah, we do have the problem with JIT. There's also the flip side of this is there is a issue with Lua JIT in the fact that they don't support 64-bit right now, which would require us to not have a JITted Lua engine. Yeah. So I think right now we're kind of a wait and see until everybody kind of catches up and figures out how many devices, because right now there's not that many 64-bit devices, and currently, since we don't have this new rendering stuff out, you won't see much gain if we support 64 to begin with. What other questions do we have?
Tiling actors. I'm looking at breaking up a scene in one of my games to it's 3100 high by 1024 wide, and I was going to do it in 256-bit by 256-bit chunks. What should I be thinking about doing that in now?
Those 256 chunks will work fine. The granularity of the engine is 64 by 64. So really, wherever you can duplicate, you can copy and paste those 64-bit tiles, 64 by 64 tiles. Wherever you can do that, the more duplication you'll have, and there'll be fewer tiles in the database, which means it loads faster and it displays it uses less memory. So if you're already tiling at 256, it probably wouldn't take you a lot of effort to make that friendly for the engine.
You mean make the actors 64 by 64 instead of 256 by 256?
So the actor size can be any size that you want. what I'm saying is that when you author the art, if you can duplicate 64 by 64 on a 64 by 64 grid, and you can duplicate those tiles in your art, it's all only in like the source art in the PNGs.
Right.
If that makes sense.
So
No, not really, but no doubt it'll get clearer as time goes on.
So for larger images, the idea is that you can use the same pattern in blocks of 64 over and over, we'll automatically find where that repeats and compress it down and get rid of the repeats and make it so that it stores more efficiently.
Yeah, I'm getting you now. Okay. Yeah.
One caveat that you guys know, this new rendering system will be in the 90 builds. The current engine doesn't render this way. The 11.11.1. Then the Mac 12 will be the first release that will use this. And Niley should get this any day as soon as we get the bugs worked out.
All right. The retina art, is that, so right now you're saying I can, at the moment I'm making my images twice size, and that's what I'm putting in my games with resolution independence checked if I want to, depending on the game and how big the images are. So I should change that now and just do it in the normal size and put at 2x?
Basically, if you're targeting retina, then have two copies of the art. One that's normal size and it's just the normal file name. Then a second PNG that has @2x at the end of the file name, just before the .png.
We actually currently automatically do that for you. So what you do is you put in the normal larger size image, and we will have the size of the image and do the renaming for you to make that a bit easier.
Right, makes sense.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We do have one question here from Scott about TGA. Is it faster? Is that the fastest format to use right now?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I think right now we're doing a subset, right?
In the new engine, we'll support TGAs. There might need to be some changes to Creator to allow you to drag and drop them, but we're using FreeImage to load images, which does a really large number of file formats. So I like Targas a lot because there's no compression and it handles alpha really well. But now you just, whatever Creator allows you to import, don't worry so much about the file format.
Is the question generally about TGAs and is loading in general or specifically gamesalad? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
RS wants to be unmuted.
Oh, sorry about that. My bad. I saw hands go up, so I saw that would be okay.
Yeah, I was
So when he mentioned 64 by 64, does that mean 128 for retina?
Yes.
So I mean, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Basically, I've got to add this code, but basically, if you have the 2x in there, it creates a second database, and that database can be ripped at 128.
And that's what we're planning to do in the next round.
Yeah.
Cool.
So normal art, so everything rips the same. So you author everything at that, at twice size. Then the engine is expecting, just normal size artwork. That will be ripped at 64, and then if you have the @2x in there, then it'll rip it at 128. So it's all ripping the same.
So for most users, the idea is they should be designing for 128 by 128 blocks because they'll be putting the full-size images, the rest size images first, and then we would be having them and we'd be putting those to 4 blocks. So their original design should be 128 by 128 blocks.
Depends on until I can get that code in there.
So would there be any advantage for you, or actually for the granularity of the images, whether we did 64 and 32 versus 128 and 64?
No, I have the hard code in the object how big the tiles are, and right now it's hard coded across the board at 64. Even for Retina, I have to change the code quite a bit to support 128, but it seems like it's important.
Okay, so here's a good important question. Maybe we should start by describing how the current 11 system works. Because there's a question about how should we, questions from Phil about how can we make graphics used in 11 now that will work with 12.
Okay. The main thing is again, don't be creating really large art and scaling it down. We want to have separate art for Retina displays and normal displays, especially on Android. And that'll just automatically make your art safe as well, and it'll be faster. Otherwise, the main thing with the current technology in 11 is don't be using any PNG presses because the engine now uses free image. Free image just can't handle images that PNGs that have been messed around with by other tools. In the current engine, if you care about the size of your files, then use JPEGs. But again, all of those will just work in 12, but you won't get any savings by having those.
So I'm launching a poll right now related to that particular statement.
Okay, I got a question from Scott about spray animations, though. Scott, can you give us a little more clarification on that? It's kind of a broad topic. Doing like a sprite sheet animation?
You know, we don't support sprite sheets yet. We want to, but just have to get there. But right now, you have to pull in individual images, and that's the same in 12.
So the nice thing for 12 is from an engine perspective, automatically benefit.
Yeah, we're building a sprite sheet for you on the fly. So for animations, looking at the 64 by 64 tile size is pretty important because I've seen a lot of animations where they have one pixel that's further right than 64 pixels, and so you end up making two columns of tiles rather than just one column. So those little things. That's why it'll be that geometry's twice as fast to keep it within the 64 pixel range, the little guys and stuff. So.
Looks like we have on our poll, we've got 50% of people go with power 2.
I'm just waiting for more.
Oh, he's waiting. Okay, yeah.
Show the results.
Oh, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself.
All right.
It no longer matters. With 12, it doesn't matter if you author your images at power 2. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Because I automatically convert them.
There you go.
So 10% of people running PNG optimizers, which will no longer help you. Do we use for 11? Do we use our own image format now?
No, that's just free image.
Okay,
We do because we run GS image on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we no longer use PNGs in 11. So running through the PNG optimizer will not do any good anymore. We've switched over, which does give us some handy ability. You can't open on 11. You cannot open the images in Creator. So if you have a published game and you try to open the project, it won't open in Creator anymore. What other questions do you guys have? Okay, we got some more here. How many people? I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm not sure. Are you RS asking how many people are in the webinar? Custom shapes. Yeah, we want to do custom shapes, Peter. We just have to find time to get to them. We gotta get this rendering system under control first. So once we get that squared away,
okay.
we have it on the list. We we have too much work to get done in an amount of time. So we'll get to it. We'll get to it eventually. Though I don't think Box2D supports with the only problem we have with like drawing your own shapes is currently we don't have a system for allowing you to draw them easily in Creator. We can definitely give you some other ones like the other ones that Box2D supports, but we are looking at doing custom shapes and possibly newer systems. But like I said, right now we got to get through a bunch of other work till we get to it. So yeah, we know you guys want it. Which also brings us to the bug database again. If you guys have features that you want, you can stick them in as feature requests from the bug database and go vote for them. So we know what features you guys want.
Is 72 DPI going to be important in this new image system?
Can you repeat the question? Brian had a little trouble hearing that.
Is 72 DPI going to be important in this new image system? Like at the moment, you want the images at 72 and not 90 or anything else?
I'm not sure. I just deal with pixels when they come out of Photoshop, so I don't know about DPI.
Yeah, we actually don't care about DPI. There is a bug. So the thing about DPI is it's kind of a bug to look for. What happens is certain PNGs seem corrupt, and they will have fractional DPIs. So what we do is we try to make sure people have whole numbers in their DPIs and resave them. And that's really more of an indication of us loading the file, and the DPI itself doesn't matter. So, but when you save a PNG file, you set a DPI, and we've seen ones that were corrupted. And what happens is we load them up, it looks like a 72.1 DPI, and so that was an indication of what the problem with the corruption of the file was. So if you just set it 72 and saved it, we could actually load it.
Yeah.
In this case, so from that perspective, it still matters, but we don't actually care what the number is. We just need it to be a whole number and loadable.
Yeah, really ultimately at the end of the day, as long as whatever program you're using saves out the art in the correct file format with the correct resolution, DPI doesn't really have a bearing on OpenGL. OpenGL doesn't care about DPI.
Right, so I'm using Inkscape at the moment, so I could just do it 90, even for the current engine, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, if you're doing Inkscape, yeah, it's just whatever the final output size is. We don't really care about the internal DPI, I don't think.
So I thought before that you have a higher DPI imported into gamesalad, and you think it's like a 128 by 128, but it becomes like a larger image because it converts it to 72 DPI.
We just pixels DPI?
I think we used to.
Oh, yeah,
I think we do.
Yeah, we don't now then.
Okay.
Oh, hey, there's another poll. This is always a good poll. So this actually poll goes back to Tan and I trying to help facilitate more meetups and to help figure out where all you guys are so that we can better put our energy in spawning meetups at these certain places.
No one from Austin, which means it doesn't really. So no pizza for you.
I guess we'll be eating lots of pizza.
No, ordering less vegetarian.
All right.
So maybe we should do more like Rainier on the West Coast versus East Coast here.
Also, if you have suggestions for poll questions, then send them in through the question channel, but I'll try to put them up.
Okay, let's see. What about Southern? Oh, Southern? Oh yeah. We always forget about the Australians. We can't forget about the Australians.
That would be Eastern Hemisphere. So I didn't want to go dividing the world into quadrants. You would be Southeastern Hemisphere, but.
Well, I'm in Australia and I put Western.
Can't forget about Australia. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I wonder how many people are in Australia. Do we have is there quite a user base there?
Yeah, I know of a couple, but I'm not sure exactly how many.
We have a question. Scott, can you clarify what it means send images and databases? Oh, so loading online basically.
Yeah.
Loading from us.
Potentially.
I think that's something we want to do, but we don't have any roadmap plans for that yet.
Yeah, but it'd be a great thing to put in the database, in the bug database as a feature request, and then people can go vote on it. Like one of the big things with the database is allow you guys to vote on features so that what you really think is important, we can see easier. So great thing to put in the public database as a feature request.
Next question, what kind of pizza do we have? We have a combo pizza, a cheese pizza, and a pepperoni pizza. RSS. Is anyone in California? I think y'all have to answer out loud for that one.
Yeah, I understand, Carlos. We have a hard time, so I'm still trying to find. That's one of the things I'm trying to do in September. If you guys want to give me kind of like suggested dates for September, that'd be really handy. I'm trying to find a date that doesn't conflict with a lot of things in September to kind of switch this to a better time, a better date for everybody. But I'm not really sure what the best date is. So if you want to send a post on the meetup group or whatnot, kind of, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which days work better for people. I can try to hit that on something else. I have a lot of meetups too, and I'm trying not to conflict with mine either. So we'll have to see how that goes. But the next month's meetup, I'm trying to find a better day and time. We're going to kind of have to stick with 7 p.m. because we all have to be working here until a certain time, and people have to get off work to be able to come here. So I think 7 is probably going to be the time, but I'm definitely flexible with switching the day. And I'd like to find a day, especially since this day actually conflicts with the some other Austin meetup groups. There you go, Tan. So Tan's going to put that up.
The pizza was from Costco, Scott. What? There is no wine for the pizza, but we do have a fridge of drinks. Week 2 is suggested. Friday, week 2.
Wednesday or Friday. Yeah, the hard part about Friday is a lot of people don't want to come to 7 o'clock on Friday, but we could have that if it's more professional. We have a lot of students sometimes coming, and sometimes it doesn't work, but since I haven't really got a lot of people to show up here in the office, maybe Friday is the way to go.
I put Friday for completeness, but really go out, have fun, Friday.
Wait, so no weekend?
No, I think we all kind of we're all kind of trying to rest up.
Yeah, some of us have families too, so we need the weekends for other things.
Okay.
So we're kind of hitting Tuesdays. Oh, Tuesdays and Fridays, interesting. So apparently we have a lot of people who like to do stuff on the Fridays. All right.
We're at 82%.
Okay, well.
So probably about 5 more minutes later.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'll get you in a second. All right, hold on, I got to unmute RS one. There you go, RS. Okay. So 91% voted.
All right, I think there hasn't been any votes for a while, so I'm closing the poll.
Okay, all right, well that tells me where people want to have it at, all right. I gotta go look up and see if any conflicts on Friday. That's the 15th. No, it's not.
I shouldn't have put Friday.
Oh, a lot of people apparently like Friday.
No, oh.
Oh, Friday's not going to work because Friday's my birthday, so.
Yeah, like Friday's my weekly night.
We could do the 5th.
Tuesday looks to be the best day other than Friday.
Yeah.
And then Friday, maybe we can
do like alternating, like every once in a while do a Friday for people who want to come in from out of town.
No.
Or is it Friday because there's a lot of students here?
That's a good question. So put a poll up there, Tan, about whether
Well, that's a hard one to ask.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to talk about it, why do you like Fridays?
Yeah, there you go. Why Fridays?
Why do you want Fridays for a meetup? We all know why people like Fridays.
And no one, and they're crickets. All right, I'll keep scrolling through the questions. Oh, yes, the controller progress. Yeah. So I've been working on Android, and I cannot believe how terrible the Android API is for that. I'm about, what am I now? I had to rework the code from Java to C++ so that you wouldn't have to have a Java component with it. So Android, most of its controller callbacks are up in Java, which it makes really difficult when you write a C++ library. So I got part of it working, but now I have to rework it so that it's all in C++ to make life easier for people who are writing C++ engines, including our engine. So I'm probably, maybe about 50% done with it. I've got an iOS controller that's actually going to arrive at my house today, so I'll be able to start working on iOS. But yeah, most of the holdup is me battling the J and I bridge. Everything is in Java, and I have to be careful how often I call up the JI bridge, and there's a couple of weird parts to it. So Android's making my life difficult in that, but it's coming along slowly. It's getting there. I don't have an ETA for you. The best thing to do if you want to keep track of what's going on, I actually commit pretty often. Brian does too sometimes. If you go to, if Tan doesn't mind me promoting this real quick, let me pull up my website. You can keep tabs on it if you want. I'll post this here in the chat. Here's the repository link. I don't have a website up for it yet, but I'm just going to post the library. There you go. There's the joystick library repository. You can watch that if you want to see commits come in and whatnot. Come along slowly but surely. As soon as I get iOS and Android working, I'll put it in gamesalad. And you get Friday. How does anyone get? It should be down in the hip chat. Peter, it's bugs.gamesalad.com.
Great.
And that's up now, and you should be able to use your gamesalad login. Do you know, Pan, what the pros get versus non-pros?
For what?
For the bug database?
Right now, I believe we've only set it up right now for, if we set it up at all, I believe only pros can vote. We're still working out the details of the voting system. So I believe we're starting with only pros can vote, and eventually we're going to change it where free users can vote and pro users can vote more. But right now, there's only one voting class, so we're only letting pros vote.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. We should have our poll too about students, because I think we have a lot of students here too that maybe have an issue here. It looks like we have homework. Okay, well here's interesting. RS asks, are you asking RS the gamesalad employees, or are you just asking in general how many people know other coding languages?
How many people?
Okay, so you can do a poll there, Tan. You want the answer poll?
Yeah, there's actually a poll coming on that one, so I'm going to close off the
second Tuesday. Okay.
So everyone seems to still like the first Tuesday, which is what we're doing now.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to skip the Friday poll real quick because this question's being asked.
Yes. Oh wait, I can't think of an organizer. Scott's asking about prices for Together games. Can you?
We haven't worked out the details of that yet.
Yeah. We're still in a lot of the merging phase. Okay. We have cut up the questions. So we have audio, but you all are muted. Feel free to ask questions or talk amongst yourselves while we wait for the poll.
By the way, I should mention, this is Steve Jacob here, that this new renderer will also be coming to Windows Creator within the coming months as well. So if you ever work with Windows Creator or know someone who does, do let them know about that. So we will be using a common render engine for everything.
Are you guys able to see the stuff that comes in the chat? Probably a question I should have done before I started typing things in the chat.
I see it fine.
Okay. All right. Wow, we have a lot of programmers here. So the next follow-up question that Tan, is what language?
Yeah, I'm waiting. We're at 73% voting, so I will be closing it soon. Usually it gets to 90 pretty quick, but.
Go vote.
All right, and I'm just going to give a 2-minute limit on all these polls because we're about to hit 2 minutes. Close poll. Sure.
So 63, yeah.
That's cool.
The real question, what languages?
Who's the C++ god?
We like to
My favorite language.
Yeah, but it's fascinating now, like, the amount of languages you have to know for these mobile devices. It's pretty ridiculous. Like, I think, like, there's a new flavor of every language for mobile device.
Yeah. And Apple just added another one.
Yep. Which is not really my favorite thing to have. It's like, yeah, another language.
Test.
Yeah. So I'm putting languages that I remember to be somewhat somewhat game-related, not all languages.
The ones I tell you should probably be on there: C++, C#, Java, Lua. Yeah, Lua.
There aren't enough spaces, but
I know. You might have to group. You may have to do like families. You have to do families of languages.
Okay, does Lua belong with JavaScript or Python?
Either. You have to group those all to scripting if you're going to do that.
Yeah, just scripting languages.
They're like really fundamentally different. Yeah. You can always do like block and then like family and then take it out by individuals. You just do it that way. Yeah, some languages. There we go. That probably works.
Yeah. I was trying to get Python because some people used to use Python.
No, that's true. I think, I don't want, yeah, I can get Python.
What if,
Sorry, go ahead.
what if you know more than one of them?
Pick your favorite.
Oh, I want to know how many you know. Okay.
How many, like, we know? Oh, how many, oh, I see. How many people know? Oh, I see, okay.
Same rules, hold up for 2 minutes, and then I'll show the answers.
Number of languages I know now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my brain hurts.
I lost count.
Yeah.
I'm going to reset the poll so you can choose more than one language, so I'm going to close it real quick and reset it.
Oh, we got 50-50 split on C++ and JavaScript. Wow.
That's not necessarily surprising. I mean, JavaScript, you know, all that stuff.
Well, I know about JavaScript. I was more intrigued on C++.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to redo this poll again with more languages, hopefully.
Holy crap. 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably should put Python in there. It's probably
0 for Lua.
Yeah. Aww. Which is funny because that's the one that was widely used scripting languages in the game industry.
Yeah. Well, the workarounds. Oh yeah.
I do love their Lua. Game world.
Okay. I'm going to put Lua.
There, you put Python up for Lua. Don't for Lua.
Version 2.
Go. Okay.
I hope that one works multiple.
Yeah, it's got checkboxes. I think you can click questions. Alright, I'll keep scrolling down the questionnaires. Oh, here we go. Oh, I was taking Java class. I still find it really weird that Android picked Java because it's like so not cross-platform on mobile space.
Well, at the time it was. All it was Java devices and Windows devices.
I guess that's true. I guess if you want to count like dumb phones, they're all Java-based. Or a version of Java.
Yeah, it was an object-oriented managed language that wasn't owned by anyone.
Well, some of it.
Sort of, but you didn't have to like pay royalties or anything on it.
Yeah.
And also for the fact that they use their own brand of Java.
Oh, you mean the mobile space?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like some subset of it.
Java ME.
Yeah, Java ME.
All right. Any other questions while we await our poll results?
Yep. Any general game style question or other questions or? I think I went to school
I did too. They didn't teach me anything.
Yeah. Initially, Purdue University, but mainly working.
High school computer science class.
I use Codecademy.
On Codecademy.
Yeah. On my Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Writing copper lists on the Amiga.
Yeah.
Going back that far,
Yeah.
Atari 800, the basic cartridge.
Cartridge.
I forgot they had this.
Yeah. Pascal, yeah.
One was a BBC Micro as well.
Yeah. So it's interesting enough, a lot of us in the game programming world, most of us didn't learn how to program games in college. Most colleges, at least back then, didn't teach you how to game program. You had to learn that on your own.
Yeah.
I learned the most from Peter Molyneux.
How many people are online?
Oh, we have four.
It was 15, it was 12, now it's 11. There are three of the people.
That's right, because I gotta take us off because there's a couple of us on there. So a pretty good amount of people at this time.
Wait, 10 because there are two RSs.
Okay.
So 11 or 10 to 11 people.
Wow, this is like across the board language split now. Now we have all these various languages.
Wow, JavaScript #1.
Yeah, it's a popular language, which is interesting because it's one of the worst programming languages on mobile space.
Well, no, because web. That's why.
I know, because I know a lot of who he's on web. I know it's very popular on the web.
Yeah.
No, Unity.
Oh, Unity has JavaScript.
Yeah.
Unity JavaScript.
Oh, that's pretty well.
Although,
choice.
although actually using C# it's more efficient.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you use Unity for the scripting and C# for the hardware.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
That's why I put it up there. Otherwise, it was.
No, that's interesting.
I heard something. Someone wanted to say something. Or not.
Well, it's 50-50 on the other thing else. The JavaScript is very high thumbs down there, 25. Okay. Interesting.
How about a poll of how many apps on the App Store?
All right. I think this will be our last poll because things seem to be winding down. Let's see here. How many apps do you use?
You might have to be a little more. I got a question here from Roland. You might need to explain a little further on this. Any chances of make the Apple ID available for us to use in the network feature? Do you mean like accessing the Apple ID at runtime to be able to send up to a network?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I don't think you can access that.
No, Apple does not want you to access the.
Wait, what does he mean by Apple? Does he mean Apple Ice ID or Game Circle ID? Please clarify. That's another thing.
Yeah, the device ID is not available to users.
And I think the iTunes app ID is also not available.
Yeah.
Apple's really particular about what you can actually access. Oh yeah, the WebView widget. So let's see, what about Android WebView widget? Unless either, oh yeah, we need to add HTTPS to that dropdown. I don't know what what is HHTP, or is that a typo? Okay. I thought we had HTTP on there. What ones do we have on there?
HTTP and mail.
Oh, yeah, we probably should put HTTPS. So I don't know if it would work because you'd have to have the keys if you didn't use a. Well, maybe it'd be okay. Yeah, I guess it'd be okay. Yeah, we should add HTTPS on there. The Android WebView stuff I haven't had a chance to look into. I just haven't had time. I'm trying to get 11.1 out the door. So it's on the back burner. But again, someone put in the bug database the feature request, remind us, and vote on it. Yeah, Apple doesn't let you get any of those, Roland. They have pretty much gone hard. He's asking, I'm sorry, Roland asked any device identifiers. And the answer to that is, so first of all, Apple has gone pretty much strictly forbids you from getting any trackable identifiers for devices.
And
the best,
advertising
Same with Android devices actually now.
Yeah, the EU has been pushing for privacy, and that's pushing to develop the two major manufacturers to get really tight on privacy. That's why Google is starting to do their things. But yeah, the best you can do is an advertisement ID, and Apple forbids you to use it for anything but advertising.
So in our case, what we may want to do for users if they need to track like uniquely for a game, we may want to add a generate UUID function as like a string function.
Yeah, one thing to note with the new Play Together system is that when a user connects to the system, they'll be asked for not only a username but an email address, and that email address will be a unique identifier for them. So if we could potentially hash that and give that to you as a unique identifier, at least for that user. But that's only if you're using the, of course, the Together game system. But if you're writing your own app, you could do something similar. So you could ask the user for a particular keyword or whatever, and then either use that straight or do a hash of it if you're running your own server.
I have a question about extensions in Apple. Scott, do you mean like allowing gamesalad games to be extensions in Apple, or can you clarify a little more about that? I have to go look up the API. I don't think actually anyone's looked at the extension API. It depends what they've exposed to the sandbox. I don't know. I'll have to go look it up. I'm not sure. I'll tell you it's not in the short term. Would you want to like have your two apps send what kind of information would you want your two apps to send to each other?
So I think you're talking about a couple things. One idea is loading data remotely, which you can do now. It's using the network behaviors.
Yeah, well, as long as the data is
Table data.
Yeah, text.
Yeah, it's text. Basically, if you're putting stuff into a big table, you can load it remotely via the table interfaces. And we are looking at, but I don't think we have scheduled the idea of Android extensions, which is the idea you could break your apps up into multiple files and download other files later as the app runs. We have the results of the App Store survey. Congratulations to whoever has over 21 apps on the App Store. Also, I didn't specify the App Store, so I'm kind of curious what everyone thought the App Store meant. Now, that being sort of a trick question, I'm going to also do
Only one of my apps is objective, but
what are some other games, or what are some other games? All right.
Yes. Our headquarters are here in Austin. This is the main one. Mm-hmm.
No, actually, I think we consider the San Francisco one the headquarters. Yeah, this is the large office and where everyone is.
Yeah, legally, I guess the one in San Francisco is the headquarters.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the lawyers.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as the lawyers are concerned, but in reality, they also are.
Yeah, here's a poll for you, Tan. If we were going to have another in-person gamesalad meetup, where should it be located?
Then help people know where everyone's on all of
them. Yeah.
It's like with the number of people in like United States other, it's like okay, like we have it in Boston, it's not gonna help us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to Vegas for seeing Vegas.
Yeah. There you go. Gamesalad Vegas.
During the
tell them,
We do a meetup at PAX South.
It's true. It's true.
Actually, is any, or any, is that, oh, actually, I'll
Just put that
I'll
poll.
make that the next one.
I don't think we have anything against AdMob. Oh, AdMob, yeah. I'll let you do that one, Tan.
That one's pretty much the same.
I'll have Tan answer that one for you, Alex.
Who has 21 plus?
No, the other one. What do you have against AdMob?
We have nothing against AdMob. We just never, they've never approached us personally like the other two networks to say, hey, we really want to be in gamesalad. We don't have it on a particular roadmap. We do want to support it and have gotten okay to. It's just more of time. I think between what we're doing with the new engine, our upcoming support for Google in-app purchase and a few other things, we're kind of booked right now. But yeah, that's something we want to work in eventually.
I think we're swamped till the end of the year at least.
Yeah, but you can always put it in the bug database as a feature request, and people can go vote on it. Solid conference. I'll let you explain. So Peter wants to know more about the network behaviors, so I'll let you explain that more, Steve.
Yeah, well, it kind of depends on which set of network behaviors what you're talking about. We've got two sets. One of them requires you to run your own server. The other one is a service that we recently purchased called Plays Together, in which we run a server for you, and we provide an API to talk to that server. We'll actually be having a talk on that probably sometime in November.
Yeah.
So we can look forward to that. But yeah, essentially the service where you have to run your own server allows you to send tables or parts of tables to a server that you are running, and then have the server respond and send the data to those tables back. It's very minimal interface, but since you're running your own server, you can do anything you want to on the back end. The new service that we're going to be rolling out is a little bit more limited. It's very oriented toward turn-based asynchronous games. So you have one player who does things in your game, and then you send the results of that player's turn to the network, and then the next player goes and does the same thing until you decide that somebody wins the game. But you don't have to worry about
Okay, so like a Words with Friends type of game?
Yes, yeah, it can be. Certainly you can easily make a Words with Friends game with it. You could also make, for instance, if you wanted to make a multiplayer board game, like let's say Monopoly or Scrabble, you could easily do that with multiple players. I guess the Words with Friends is Scrabble, but that's only 2 players. But you could easily make a 4-player game or an 8-player game as well. So yeah, that kind of game. It doesn't support real-time games, so you couldn't do, for instance, a fighting game with it because it doesn't have the low latency that you need for that. But for any sort of thing where a player takes a turn and then the next player is notified and they take their turn and so on, it will help with that a great deal. And there's some documentation, I believe, already on the cookbook pages. But as I said, in November, I'll be having a talk on that and go into greater detail about how all that is going to work.
You could also fall into that with push notifications on your server.
That is going to be coming up. The service that we've bought together games does have push notifications. It's currently not implemented. If you grab the latest dirty push notifications isn't on there yet, but it will be as soon as we can get these. As has been mentioned many times before, we're all really booked for things that we need to do on the roadmap, but is definitely on the list of things we want to get in.
For the network stuff, I posted in as an answer to the question a link to the open source project doing this will help you write the server stuff in PHP. We're hoping for other languages soon, but hopefully that'll be done. It comes with the PHP code example for, or tic-tac-toe example in a previous step.
Yeah, good.
I think there's a question, RS, are you talking about, RS other, are you talking about topics as in what the next topics are for the meetup group?
Like, what are the next topics?
So currently I'm looking for someone who wants to talk. September is going to be Education Month. I'm looking for teachers to talk about, or students, talk about gamesalad in education, how you use gamesalad in the classroom or in your class. I've got a possible teacher, but I'm still looking for backups or other people who want to talk. Got a lot of time to fill for September. October's open, so if anybody has a topic they want to talk about, I have nothing planned yet for October. November, Steve's going to talk about plays together, and that's as far as I got right now for topics. But I'm always looking for new topics, or what topics do you guys want us to talk about?
We don't have anything on the roadmap for that right now. I think we were going to start with using what Place Together provided, because that would be the least work for us in the short term.
When are the bugs going to be imported, the existing bugs going to be imported into the database, the new bug database?
They are as we speak. We're kind of putting, because our database of past things is so huge, we're actually putting them in a special section, and then we'll move the relevant bugs that we've publicly posted over to the correct categories. Right now, we're just running a script that's moving them from our internal bug database to the external one.
Right, okay.
Hopefully, that'll be done tomorrow-ish.
It's a big database.
Apparently, no one's going to tax out.
Oh.
Which means, no, you missed your chance. I was trying to get us a gamesalad meetup there, but apparently that's not going to happen. So, for you. We also had some other results that came in. So apparently we should hold a gamesalad conference.
Just not a PAX South.
South. So the question is where should we have that? So the question there would be Europe. Europe, Europe, United States.
We got direct flights
Australia.
San Francisco.
Yeah. We do have direct flights from Austin to England, so maybe we could do that.
Yeah, we have the UK meetup.
You can all stay with my mum.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Whoever made a mention of Place Kitten, I might have to add that as a way to generate another avatar generation button on the website.
I did put a link, but yeah, when we actually get everything squared away tomorrow, and I get the all clear from the web team, I'll post the form. I'll make a forum post, or
Yeah.
The database. We'll do a forum post with the actual link.
Because I hadn't heard, I didn't know where it was before today.
Yes, that's because
I had heard about it, but
Yeah, we announced it. We showed a preview version for pro users just to see how they just to get some feedback and see how they work. We didn't actually hear much feedback, so we just went and starting the process of launching it live. It's up, but we're not announcing it because we are in the process of moving all the existing bugs over. So we'd appreciate if you know your bug is already in the forum post, don't post it again. But if you see the bug, if you have a new bug that's not there or a new feature request, go ahead and enter it now.
Yep, and we'll have the official fanfare launch with the forum post and all, hopefully tomorrow.
See, this is a benefit of coming to this meetup. You get to hear about the special.
I know. You get to hear about new things. We literally were talking about the database like 2 hours before we came in here.
So I haven't looked at the link for Kudos Kit yet, but I'm probably going to answer no.
Oh yeah, I think is this the one where you can share your videos?
No, it's you basically share. It's social stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, we don't plan on it. We don't have any plans for it anytime soon, so it does look kind of cool. So when can I expect 0.12.0?
What? Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I think I had played in the fall. It will come out after Windows 11. Oh, there's Dan.
They're asking why we aren't in front of the camera.
Oh, because I'm controlling the presentation from the side room.
All right, here we go.
I don't want you to see Ryan. There you go. There's Jonathan. There's me and Steve. I'll move out of the way.
The camera is not very wide angle, so yeah, right there he is.
Blue now.
Okay, here. Why don't
you just put in the center of the table?
I was saying, since y'all been looking at him this whole time.
There you go.
There you go. Now there you go.
John's gonna run. Yeah, usually what happens is I'm the one running the actual show, and so whoever's presenting, I usually point the camera at, because I don't think you guys want to watch me click buttons. But yeah, 12 I think is probably gonna be sometime late fall. I don't have an exact date yet. We have to. The big thing we have to get out is the stuff for iOS 8 and Yosemite. That has to get out before iOS 8 and Yosemite comes out, and we need Windows 11 coming out. So after Windows 11 comes out, which best guess is mid-fall, late fall.
I'm thinking probably sometime in October.
Okay, so
it depends on what QA, of course, but at least as far as, let's say, getting out a version of Dirty that's, hasn't been 100% approved by QA, I'm thinking sometime mid to late October. And then however long QA takes to get it out before it officially comes out.
And you'll see 12 in nightlies before. Obviously you'll see these in nightly builds probably earlier. We should hopefully, the reason we don't have it out in nightly builds yet is because currently your game would explode probably if you try to use the current state nightly. It's still very, very, still unstable. There's some pretty nasty bugs stuff. We're getting close to getting ironed out. So expect to see that soon. Oh, there you go, Tan. How many people work in gamesalad nowadays? Where are we at now?
Same number, around 18.
18? Anyone use Mac Pros? Well, at gamesalad, we all use Mac Pros.
Yeah. We use MacBook Pros.
MacBook Pros.
The
Mac Pro. Oh, yeah, the trash can.
We can't and or don't want to afford that trash can right now. Even though our local Apple rep has been calling us about once a month to try to get us to buy one.
Oh, hey, there's for you, Tan. Arcade.
When do you expect to do Arcade? We're still QAing it. It's looking good so far, so I'm hoping it'll go up soon. Yeah, mostly because I'm tired of dealing with bugs from the old Arcade. So I'll now get to deal with bugs from the new Arcade. But yeah, the new one will load much faster and it'll be nice.
There's our few Marketplace.
We're still working on Marketplace. I think that one's probably more than while the new Arcade probably the most a week out, the new Marketplace is probably going to be at least another month out. We actually switched gears. We were originally building a new Marketplace on top of Magento, but we are changing into using a different system, a little more streamlined and better for virtual goods. So that's responsible for what's going to take a little longer. Once we get closer, we'll have something else for you all to play with. What we're probably going to try to do is make it so that it will be the system that you use to get subscriptions is the first thing. So that'll be there, but yeah, we're still working on it.
Yeah, what about cookbooks? Not sure what.
Marketplace. Cookbooks. Cookbooks are as they are. We're not doing anything new for a while. The cookbook now is posted on Zendesk. It's, help.gamesalad.com. So if you just click on the cookbook link, it should forward you there. We just update it with new content for features, but we're not going to change the way the new cookbook works. How long has everyone been using? A poll. All right.
I was going to say, there's your poll, Tan.
All right. Since I already started this poll,
well, we need topics for polls. If people want polls, we need topics. Questions for polls. Cloud support. Yeah, the question is how do you do that in a way that, you know, others can.
Not me.
Yeah. We actually watched the iCloud stuff from WWC. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, the iCloud is definitely interesting. It could be a potential future alternative to Plays Together. The idea would be that you'd have the same behaviors in your game, and just pick whether you wanted to use Plays Together or iCloud or potentially something else. That's something I personally would definitely like in the future. I'd like to give users the selection about which backend network provider they want to use. But I don't know. It's definitely not on the schedule yet, although it's certainly interesting in the technology.
Okay.
What about something like Google Play Games and Achievements?
Yeah, I don't know if we have anything. Yeah, we definitely. So first we're going to do Google App Purchase.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything you talk, Ken, about Google Play Achievements leaderboards?
We haven't talked about it directly.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's something we want to do, but it's not on the schedule.
But again, another great feature request for the bug database.
Okay.
So one of the reasons we're pushing everyone there is with the ability to vote eventually, once we enable that, it'll be a good way for you to show your support for a particular feature. What we want to do is we want a limited number so that you have to choose what's most important to you, and then you vote on items to push them up to the stack.
And that makes it easy for us to support it because we can just go take the top voted features and start working down the list. Yeah. Also with bugs. How about GameStar multiplayer? Yeah, the reason why we went with like Plays Together to start with is because it's cross-platform and it's easier for us to support. We'll probably circle back after we get Plays Together working really well, and we'll circle back then and start looking at other ones, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, the set of behaviors for networking is fairly generic, so it shouldn't be too hard to insert other backends into the behaviors.
The other topic we'll have to have at some point too is the rework of the in-app purchase system.
Yes. Yes, we will definitely have to have that. Actually, that might be something. Well, no, because I can't do October because I'm going to be the first Tuesday after October. I'm going to be exhausted from watching movies the previous week. So we couldn't do it then, but yeah, it is something we should do.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know there's going to be a new in-app purchase system for iOS 8. We have to move away from the current system due to the fact of the asynchronous nature of the new in-app purchase.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, you'll be getting Google in-app purchase, and then we're thinking about trying to maybe support Mac in-app purchase if it's not too bad.
Yeah, Mac actually with the new stuff from Apple, actually Mac is. You can get that almost for free, so it shouldn't be that much of a big of a problem.
So, but yeah, the new system's going to be pretty good. We'll have more details out as we get closer to that.
Yeah.
You still getting that put together?
Yeah.
So it looks like we have a lot of people who have been with us for more than 2 years, so no one who's been with us since the beginning.
I haven't logged in.
Jonathan didn't vote.
Very good.
Are you guys Apple developers? As in, like, do we program on the Apple? Can you be a little more specific, Scott? Oh, yeah.
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 Apple doesn't give anybody anything free. It's been hard for me even to get them on the phone when I have problems. Yep, we all have Apple developer accounts. Yeah, they're hard. Like you said, the only time I actually got somebody on the phone when they finally saw like 5 of you guys sending in tickets about their in-app purchase being broken. Then I finally got an email with the guy and got some back and forth time with it. But yeah, historically we've had a really hard time when problems surmount that we have no control over, getting Apple to give us details or even talk to us. Unless our app is the one rejected, which a lot of the time doesn't happen, it's very frustrating on our side to get an answer from Apple to help fix problems.
Google doesn't even answer. You can't even talk to a human. You have to use the forums.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they're a little less picky, so they probably you don't probably need to talk to them as much.
Yeah, though actually the biggest problem I have with Google lately is the fact they rely on Oracle's Java. Because every freaking version of Java that comes out, they've broken on some platform. I really wish they would move away. Either I don't know. I'm scared to ask them to do their own version of Java, but maybe they should write. Maybe they should have their own tool set, not rely on Oracle tool sets. But yeah, you guys are not the only guys who get frustrated. We get frustrated with Apple and Google sometimes too, especially Apple when it comes to their App Store.
People have been using it for 4 years.
Oh, so you need to put the poll forward.
No, RS has been saying it.
Oh. Yeah. Apparently he's been using it for he or she's been using it for 4 years.
Okay.
We don't. Yeah, we go ahead and you can.
So the idea is it's not. So we've had some. What happened was there was a window where we were enabling the ad network without letting people. When people disabled all their ads, we just happened to turn it on. And so what happens is that was causing people problems because it wouldn't show the ad network because of the way it was configured when you turned it off, but it would include it as part of the package. And that would cause you to fail because you didn't know you were requiring the ad identifier. We fixed that, so right now we've kind of deprecated GS Network. If your game already has it, it's still working, but we've turned it off for new games. And instead, we're using RepMob and Chartboost ads by default for free users. For everyone else, we fixed the problem. So if you've had a problem with the ad identifier in GS Network, republish your game and it should remove that, and you should be fine.
Random question. Oh, it's a long one. How does music and RAM works for iOS? I was working on a game that will have about 15 to 3 music tracks and wondering if it will cause any issues. So let me see if I can remember right, and correct if I'm wrong, the iOS streams the music?
Yeah.
So we don't actually load the entire song memory now.
If you save the audio file as an M4A, then we will know and specify it as a music asset and not a sound asset. Then we won't load it into memory and it'll stream from the device. I don't know if it's still the case, but gamesalad was built around, at the time we added the feature, iOS only allowed you to stream one file at a time, so that's what you get. That's why we have the distinction of music and sound.
But I can't remember if sounds are loaded all the way in memory or not.
Yes.
They load all, yeah, sounds okay. Sounds are
loaded all the way.
That's right, because we had the old buffer with Android, yeah.
Yeah, and we have to decode the audio because
Yeah.
it's not needed for
Right. Yeah, music and stream sounds are fun.
And I can't remember, I want to say you can play 64 sounds at a time. I think that's the number, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 64 channels at a time. So if you go past 64, you basically run out of sound channels, and you have to stop playing one for the other one to take effect.
Yes, gamesalad does work for the Amazon Fire Phone in so much that the Fire Phone loads Android apps.
Yeah, we haven't tested it yet.
Yeah, we haven't, but they've tested some apps that we, as the gamesalad company has, and they've been checked off. I think they've been checked off as working on the phone. So there may be some glitches. So we don't know if it's going to work 100% because, of course, there's no device to test. Well, when the device, I think it's out now.
Either you can pre-order it now, or you can.
Yeah. So we don't have. We're not ready with the device yet to test it for sure. But from Amazon automated checks after we submitted tasks, so I think it works. If you submitted it as an Android port, an Android APK, it should work on a phone.
Yeah, you fairly can't buy Fire phones now. They kind of are out.
Really?
It says on Amazon.
Because they look horrible.
They look horrible.
Fire TV?
Yes. Well, one of the features is just getting more money for Amazon. You take a picture of something and you can just find the link to buy it on Amazon.
Yeah.
The Firefly. And then the other feature is just like a tilty thing.
Oh yeah, they're parallax. It's kind of like
the parallax.
When it goes through the device.
Fire TV. So as soon as I can get my joystick library supporting all the Amazon, which I did actually test on Fire TV a couple nights ago. Fire TV. As soon as I can finish up my joystick library, we will be able to start trying to see. It should once I get the joystick library working, it should easily work on the Fire TV. But so I have to get that done. So if anybody wants to help out, it's an open source library. You can hop on and help code. And so there's a lot of programmers, especially in C++ and Java. But yeah, it's not going to be an official platform necessarily. It would just, if the joystick, once we get the joystick library on there, it should just work. I don't see any reason why it won't work at that point.
So I have questions about iOS 8 other than in-app purchase. Is there anything, if people aren't using in-app purchase, is anything going to break?
There's a couple bugs with the way they re-implement Game Center and the fact that but no, nothing crazy. We just have a couple bugs to fix, and that's it.
I think the idea is for existing games, what will need to be done? Like, will they need to republish?
Yes, we'll probably have to republish. Yeah, you'll have to republish because the current binaries have some bugs in them that will cause problems.
Okay, so yes, so there are issues with iOS 8. You will need to republish your games. The big ones we know about are related to Game Center and for in-app purchase, the new in-app purchase.
Yes.
But I think unless you have in-app purchase, you won't have to actually recode your game.
Yeah.
Just republish it.
Yeah, so technically if you didn't have Game Center, you didn't have in-app purchase, I think the majority of the bugs you would be avoiding. But yeah, we're trying really hard to get it out so that it's out in time.
Yeah.
That is our plan.
Yeah. We'll have, September.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to get it out by August. Yeah, so again, that will go back to, well, a couple of things with that. So there's a problem with the Fire TV, right? So if this just happens to work and we don't have to spend oodles and oodles of time getting these platforms to work, then we can kind of unofficially support them fine. But the problem is putting a lot of development time into something like the Uyo or even the Amazon Fire TV. The problem is it comes back to our energy putting time into that platform versus the actual amount of market share it has. And like Fire TV just hasn't really caught fire as much as other platforms. And the Uyo, again, is one of those kind of background things. I don't think it even has necessarily it's starting to kind of go on the downside. But theoretically, once I get the Android joystick stuff working, Uyo should work. I'll have to go pull up some of the old code we had and see if it's easy to run. But I'm not going to promise anything, but I might take a second look at it. If they could actually if they could put an SD card, so one of my biggest problems with my Fire TV is so they have these giant games, and they only put 5 gigs on the Fire TV, so you can only have about 1 or 2 of these giant games, and you're done. And then they have a USB slot, but you can only use it really for Android debugging. And so it'd be nice if you plug a hard drive in there or something to put these games on. It's a pretty decent gaming device. They're missing still a lot, in my opinion, missing a lot of media channels and whatnot. But yeah, I think they're starting to get there. I'm not sure if Amazon exactly knows how to run games and have games on there, but it might catch on eventually. I bought one. I have one. It's nice. But so I'll try once I get the controller working on Android working 100%, I'll try to put it in gamesalad and see if it'll run the Fire TV okay. Because I have one of those. Okay. Existing apps. Yeah, Keynote 9th, which is why we're trying very hard to get it, iOS 8 stuff all finished up in August. Yeah, got that. Chrome App Store, that's probably your department, Ken.
Chrome App Store, we're not, in the short term, we don't have any plans to support any of the purchase requirements for it. If you're willing to put your game up for free, you can do that now just by sending the URL to your arcade game to Chrome App Store. I'd probably wait for the new arcade to come out because the games will load faster, and the default screen size is going to be 960 across, so it'll be a lot bigger. So that'll be much better for the Chrome App Store. One of the smaller features I'm hoping to add to the new arcade at some point when I have spare time is to make it so that you can customize the background. So for a Chrome App Store type game, you can just have the game screen and your custom background rather than a gamesalad page. But aside from that, full-on Chrome App Store support requires kind of processing purchases. We don't have any plans to do that.
Yes, how would one do that? I would assume, how would one put it on the App Store now? Or did you already talk about that?
Peter, do what?
Wait, is there just should I look on the Google forums and stuff like that just to put the link up there when the new arcade comes out?
I'll also look it up, but I remember the last time I tried App Store, when you set up the quote-unquote app, you can actually just say, this is a hosted app, here's the link to the app, and that's how we put up our copy of, when we first came out on HTML5, we put out
Two Broke Girls? Wasn't those?
yeah, well, Two Broke Girls was something we put up, but it wasn't the one I'm thinking of.
Tiny Cannon.
So we put up Tiny Cannon up, and I think Zombie Drop as well, and we just made a specialized page for them and made it to the page, and that's how it worked.
I don't know anything about BlackBerry Android APKs. Anybody else have any luck with Android and BlackBerry? I haven't looked up much about that.
Last I heard were they were going to try to, but I don't know if they ever got around to it. No,
What's BlackBerry?
Yeah. Any clues on screen size and pick? Nope. You got me. No clue about the iPhone.
Apple does not tell us anything.
We're just in as dark as you guys. Probably darker sometimes. Excited, full screen. Oh, is full screen for Arcade 10?
That's actually planned. It's not going to come out with the first release of the new arcade. What we're hoping to do is full screen and also auto detect when you're on mobile, so it'll go full screen on the mobile device instead of playing a little tiny window inside your device. So that's probably will work together is once I get the mobile version of arcade going, or adjust for arcade so it actually scales to mobile, we'll also get full screen support for games. There's a question mark.
Can't answer question marks.
Anyone excited for new App Store edition? Actually, I'm not sure what you're talking about. RS, would you care to elaborate?
The new like bundling and video.
Oh yeah, so you can do.
And test flight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's figure out. We gotta go. I gotta talk to you, Ken, about the videos because you can now upload videos to iTunes.
That's all the users.
Oh, that's right. It's all on their website. That's right. They can just do that. I forgot. I keep forgetting that.
I eventually hope to have it where Arcade can list your mobile apps as well, and you can upload videos.
Being someone who uses the App Store, I like the fact that it would have videos. Because that's one thing I miss from going from Google Play to iPhone was the fact that I can watch the trailers. You should still have trailers. I also like the family stuff. That's kind of cool. So it is making that purchase difficult for us to have to rework.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons for me to do it. But it's, from a tech point of view, it's actually not that bad.
We always request Scott is the way to check to see if the user has Wi-Fi. In code, yes. Is there a reason why you want to know whether they have Wi-Fi for gamesalad? Can you elaborate more? For like the multiplayer functionality?
Yeah,
or network behaviors?
We'll probably, I'm hoping we would try something like that in for you where it shows the dialogue as part of the process.
Right now, it's just basically where we turn error code. At least, well, first of all, for the network behaviors where you run your own server, it just returns an error code saying I can't connect. And place together system, it's a similar thing where when you try to connect to the network, or return a code saying it can't connect. There's nothing currently in there that's sort of a pre-test where you can say, can this device connect to the internet before I even try? But that is something certainly we can add.
It's like a good device attribute.
Yeah.
Another feature request for the bug database.
Indeed.
And we are coming up on 9 o'clock for us. So you have 3 minutes in to ask a question. I have no more polls, so sort of So I think I promised this poll. I don't think anyone really cares anymore. I guess we'll put it up. All right. When we wrap up this poll in 2 minutes, I think that's going to be the meeting. Unless you want me to carry the camera out and show you pictures for our pizza. But
It's a lot of pizzas for us to eat. You should come to the office. You know, we don't buy.
Pizza.
Okay. let's see if I don't know if I can move it that far.
I think you probably bring the pizza in here.
Yeah.
It's yummy pizza.
Hey, here you go.
Pizza.
You can't see the pizza. Right?
I see. Are the video stop sharing?
Oh, I guess the video stopped.
Oh, it might be because the poll's up. Yeah. I want to say. I'm pretty sure the webcam's up.
Yeah. Well, the poll. I think the poll's taking it.
Yeah. What you can do? Once the poll's done, you will see the pizza.
There's not much left there.
What? 2 slices? 2 slices of pizza.
We'll make it big pizza.
Oh, there you go. Oh. We were there for a second, Tam.
There you go.
Hey. There you go.
Slice of pizza, not really.
We also have 2 other pizzas. We have a whole lot of cheese pizza, just in case there are vegetarians. I think that's it, because as of now, unless we edit this, the picture of the pizza is going to show up in the recorded version of this webcast.
So Scott asked about what's the most successful app. I don't know if you have any knowledge of that, Dan.
So the most successful app from a ranking perspective is, I believe, it's between Flying Miley. Actually, I think it was Flying Cyrus, yeah, which is a flying Flappy Bird's clone with Miley Cyrus's head
And tongue.
It was between that app. I think that app actually beat out Red Bouncing Ball Spikes, and then the only other game to break that high up was Escape 3D The Room, I believe, which is was made by Board.com a few years back. Oh, actually, over there. See if I can get. Well, that's 9. I'll have to do poll next time. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get a set of poll questions. It's always a good thing.
All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Next month we'll have education. So if you're a teacher or student and you want to talk about education, send me a message on the forums. So let me know.
Or if you know the school or a teacher who wants to talk, just let them know about the meetups.
Yeah, and you don't have to be here in Austin. We can do remote presentations. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a question or just a goodbye?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wait. Oh, that's my screen. I don't want to record my screen. Oh, I was like, how do I stop the podcast on my screen? There you go. Okay.
Stop sharing the webcam and then close off the meeting. Or just close off the meeting.
All right.
We're done.